Yeah, I'm putting Windows 7 back on this machine.
Yeah, I'll be sure. To the people here present in the audience, as well as those that are watching this broadcast via live video stream, this is our first, and I hope our first annual State of the District address. So I want to first and foremost thank the Nimitz faculty and staff and Ms. Robin Fawcett for opening the doors to Nimitz to allow me to do this first annual State of the District address from Nimitz Junior High School. It truly is both humbling and a privilege to stand here at Nimitz Junior High School before educators, some who were here when I was here in 1996-97 as a first-year teacher, who blessed me with their kindness and blessed me with their support. I'll never forget being ushered back to the interview committee room in the library, and as I was being ushered back, the principal of the time, Mr. Steve Brown, was fixing my collar. And so you don't forget those kinds of things, and he said he wanted to be sure I looked presentable before he introduced me to the team. So Nimitz was my start in education, and so I wanted to give this first State of the District address from Nimitz Junior High School. Within that, I also want to thank Melanie Key, who is at Reagan now, but was my next door neighbor at Nimitz. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank her for being a support. She was a great team member and a great sounding board, and forever fixed within my mind the concept of mentor and friend. I also want to thank Mike Proctor, who at the time at Nimitz was the department chair for the English Language Arts department. He's now at Permian, and he continues to positively touch the lives of kids there. His calm and steady hand kept us together and kept us focused, and it was through his work that the concept of a teacher leader truly was fixed in my mind as well. Yesterday, our Board of Trustees joined leaders from the ECISD Education Foundation, the Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Higher Education Leadership, the Odessans for Kids Political Action Committee that helped with the passage of the recent bond election, our ECISD campus and classroom leaders from across the district, and students. The purpose of yesterday's work was to renew our commitment to becoming that world-class district where we offer a world-class education to all learners, and we are that world-class place to work. Proverbs 29:18 teaches us, where there is no vision, the people will perish. It is through vision that we can reach levels of greatness for our students and our community like never before. With this bold but attainable desire to offer a world-class education and be a world-class place to work, it is through a clear vision that the fog lifts and the mist is dispelled and the path is revealed. Our existing strategic plan was created nearly 5 years ago. It helped us travel down an unfamiliar road. It served as a roadmap, whereas before the crisis du jour set the pace of work in ECISD, the strategic plan now dictated what were the goals to be accomplished by the end of the 6 weeks, the 9 weeks, the semester, the year, and in essence, 5 years. The strategic plan fosters 4 key points. I'd like to review the work, the state of the district as we stand today, because it is a great time to be in ECISD. And if I don't take the time to highlight and to say these are the good things that are going on in ECISD, then there's no reason why I should or anybody in ECISD should be upset that others aren't telling our stories if I don't tell those stories first, the loudest and of course the proudest. The first strategic priority is to ensure learning experiences that are engaging, challenging, and meaningful. What's that meant for ECISD? It's meant the beginnings of a consistent curriculum with work yet to be done. But we know that within our district, we have the people who can do that work. Within our district, we have experience, we have vision, we have tenacity, and we have talent. I'm reminded of a board meeting in which Ireland Elementary presented. Ireland Elementary did such an outstanding job that our school board of trustees had many questions for the staff of Ireland Elementary, and in the front row was a first-year teacher, Candace Sykes. And I remember the board asking a question that wasn't directed to me or administration, but rather to the teacher. So Ms. Sykes was sitting in the front row. I looked back at her and I asked her if she would be willing to come up and address the board as a first-year teacher. And with all due eloquence, she articulated the district's strategic priorities and was able to line them all out. The purpose for a consistent curriculum and how it meets the needs of kids, the impact of working in a PLC, being able to learn from our experienced teachers, being able to share her passion for education, as well as taking a look at students from the social side, but also understanding where their learning gaps were so that those learning gaps could be closed one student at a time. So to our teachers like Candace Sykes, who every day step forward for students and are their key to a brighter future, it is folks like you that we know will help take our consistent curriculum from its beginning stages to a level where our ECISD curriculum will be a standard in the state. Other aspects of our first priority as they relate to the strategic plan: aligned professional development. Last year we rolled out our first ever teacher university. We didn't pay hundreds of thousands of dollars or even thousands of dollars for outside speakers to come in and teach our teachers. Rather, it was our teachers who taught each other. It was our best who shared their best so that teachers across the district could learn from each other and we could cease being a district of independent schools and merge to be an independent school district to serve all learners. I'm reminded of the work through our Abydos Writing Initiative, and I think through how we're taking that to the next level, this idea of professional development ushered in by our own people. I think of Becky Norris at Crockett, who's completed the Abydos Writing Trainer and will now become a teacher leader in the sense of a trainer of trainers. She'll be a person who will be a resident expert within the district, and we have many others like her who have completed that training who will begin setting the standard in how we teach students to write, to think, and to learn, as opposed to write for a test, rather to write, and to write with passion. Other work that followed under our strategic plan, our dual credit enrollment went from 300 students 2 years ago to over 1,000 students. That's impressive. That's through the work of our counseling staff. That's through the work of our teachers, encouraging students to push beyond their own expectations for themselves. Increases in AP enrollment across the district. We now have more teachers trained in AP today than we ever have in the history of ECISD. That means teachers who teach AP classes are also teaching students in general education classes, and they're using those very same AP strategies with all students. So all students are benefiting from this work. Think about the positive momentum in the identification of GT students across ECISD. 2 years ago, you would believe that GT students were isolated only to a few schools in the district, but today we have even GT identification across the district. We have well over 1,300 students from K through 6 who are identified as GT today, almost twice the numbers 2 years ago. We're right within the state range of what's expected. And it's not an over-identification, rather these students are being successful. And as these students continue to grow up through the system, we cease to push from the bottom and begin to pull from the top. Furthermore, consider the work in bilingual ESL. 2 years ago, the state of Texas came in and they had to make a decision. Were they going to take over ECISD? Were they going to send in a monitor? Were they going to change our accreditation status? But when they heard throughout the district that we had a consistent plan of action, though still in its beginning and infant stages, the TEA said, we'll give you a chance. And what we did is we did good on that chance. We've now moved from stage 4, the highest level, to stage 3. And our work continues to just improve as our English as a second language students across the district are acquiring English at a rate that outpaces the federal standard. Our students are the result of our hard work. and the result of our dedication to that first strategic priority of providing experiences that are engaging, challenging, and meaningful. Another point I want to touch on, this year we've had the highest tax exit level scores in the history of ECISD. It took us over a decade to get to those scores, but that was with the absence of systems, with the absence of cohesiveness, with the absence of sharing. Sure, there were teachers that worked with each other, but were there schools that worked with each other? Was there a central office team that's mission is to help remove barriers and seek to understand? The answer is no. But what it shows is, though it took us a decade or more to arrive at the highest exit level scores, it shows that our kids can do it and that we can do it. And with systems, we'll do it faster, we'll do it more efficiently, and we'll be much more effective. With that, we've re-implemented our literacy program. We know that our 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade reading scores are not reflective of the talents and capacities of our students. When you don't have a reading program, it ends up being a very challenging situation for students. But when you have a consistent literacy approach, it becomes something very different. This year, we have pilot classrooms in kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade. In bilingual, we have it all the way up to 3rd grade. And next year, we had 3rd grade in English, and we had 4th and 5th grade in bilingual. Literacy, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, those are the keys to success for our students. Without literacy, everything else is virtually impossible. Literacy is where it begins. And so I applaud our Board of Trustees for their vision in re-implementing literacy. And I applaud our reading coaches, our reading specialists, Lisa Wells, and our campus curriculum facilitators, as well as our dyslexia intervention teachers for their work in making literacy a priority in ECISD for all students. Another point is we have decreased the dropout rate twofold in the last 3 years. We've increased graduation rates. Our attendance in the last 6 weeks went up, whereas in years past it went down. If good things are happening on the campuses and in the classrooms, the scores will go up. If good things are happening in the classrooms and in the campus, kids will show up. If good things are happening in the classroom, the community will show up, and we're beginning to see that momentum now. We now have AVID on every campus. Our SAT scores at all 3 high schools have increased. In some cases, over 100 points. At Permian, over 160. We also have the highest career and technology education enrollment in the last 3 years. We have students who are engaged in courses that weren't available before. And we're offering new courses next year, such as instrumentation and health services, in the sense of offering a track to LVN for our students to graduate with that. When I think of career and technology, I think of Robin Lisenby. She's a 2-year teacher with ECISD who came to us from Louisiana. She epitomizes a positive approach to everything. I've never seen her without a smile. And so ECISD, I ask that you get to know Robin Lisenby and be as impressed with her belief in career and technology education. I also ask that you get to know Nat Armendariz, who's not just a welding teacher in career and technology, but also he's a counselor of sorts. I can't tell you how many students have come back and said that if it wasn't for Nat, they wouldn't have pursued college, that he's the guy that said, sure, I'm teaching you a trade, but you need to go to college. I don't want you to work as a welder, I want you to own the welding company. And it's through his passion and the passion of people like Robin Lisenby and the passion of our new teachers like Candace Sykes that have helped us get to where we are and will pave the way for the future. The second strategic priority is we will provide infrastructure to maximize the success of all students. 63% of 26,000 voters said ECISD is ready after well over 30 years to implement the middle school concept. I'll tell you, when I came into ECISD as a teacher in 96, 97 in Nimitz, we were known for pushing the envelope. We were known as cutting edge, and then somewhere along the way we forgot that. I don't believe that that'll be the case anymore, and the community has given us their vote of confidence, 2-1 out of 26,000 voters. Go out and make middle schools work, but not like other school districts make middle schools work. Make middle schools work in a way that other school districts will want to come and see what we're doing. That was the purpose in going out and asking the community, what do you expect? That was the purpose in spending time at each junior high school and at the high school and asking parents, what do you expect? That's the reason our principals got into the car and drove all over the state of Texas to look at outstanding middle school models and ask the tough questions so that we don't repeat the mistakes. Rather, we learn from those mistakes and we start in a much better place. I guess the biggest and most proud piece of our work, I'm going to mention two components with a strategic priority further. The first one is the reestablishment of neighborhood schools. Part of our challenge has been for our students on the west side of town who have to drive 2 hours to school and 2 hours home. Within a matter of a year or so, those students won't have to travel 2 hours anymore. They'll have neighborhood elementary schools. Also, our freshman students won't be restricted to advanced coursework to first and last period bus routes to the high schools. Our advanced learners will be able to fully participate in higher level academic courses because they'll be on the high school and they'll be able to take advantage of that. Much like students in the rest of the state of Texas. We no longer want to be one of the last two 5A districts that hasn't embraced the middle school concept and is holding back our ninth grade students for taking advantage of higher levels of academic coursework. In terms of our third strategic priority, we will identify, engage, and equip our world-class team to accomplish our mission. Think about the amazing work done by Cheryl Watts, our Comptroller of Finance, David Harwell, our Director of Finance, our Chief Financial Officer. This is the earliest in many years we've released the salary schedule so that teachers know that we value you and we're not waiting to the last moment for the state legislature to tell us what they're going to do. We're going to take care of our people now and give them the comfort and reassurance that you are valued. We've also released the staffing earlier than we ever have. That means when you don't release staffing early, principals in July and August are trying to fill vacancies, which means in a lot of cases when those vacancies aren't filled, classrooms get doubled in size. Long-term subs end up providing education as opposed to certified teachers. Principals and teacher interview teams now have full license to begin interviewing new ECISD team members. That hasn't happened in a long time. We've also released budget planning amounts, the earliest we have in many years. In April, we let campuses and departments know, here's the money you have for next year. Get with your teachers while it's fresh on your mind and you're evaluating the year. I wish we had money to have done this. Begin working on those plans now. Because we took to the Board of Trustees this past month, and I appreciate the bold step by our 4 new Board of Trustees in voting to support moving the fiscal year from September 1, because that's the way we always did it, to July 1, because it makes sense. Why would we do all the work that we're doing to hire teachers early, to build the budget early, to announce our principals earlier than we have in the past, only to say, great, we applaud you in getting all of your people on board. Oh, by the way, you don't have any money to buy the materials, resources, desks, computers, and other things you need until September 1. It makes no sense at all. And what we have to be committed to is examining those things that don't make sense, those things that are senseless traditions, and change them. Let senseless traditions be history, and let's establish new traditions that make sense for where we want to be and where we want to go. Think about the work that's been done recently with the change in our HR department. No longer will our HR department be known as the Human Resource Department, because resources, I think of things you buy off a shelf. Rather, it shall be known as our Human Relations Department, because our work in HR will be to build relationships with people we want to join our team. We don't want to see people as resources. We want to see people in the sense of what we really should be to each other. We should be coworkers. We should be friends. We should be familiar. We should be supportive. You build a relationship, hence human relations. We made a commitment that our HR department will be known for customer service, user-friendliness, communication, and honoring our diversity. We have great work already done in that area. I have to recognize Renette Aguilar, Michelle King, Debbie Jimenez, and Melissa Seaton as people currently working in our HR department who go above and beyond and do their best every day to put forward ECISD's first hand of support. They are the first people. And adding to them will be 2 new directors in Stacy Ashley and in Rebecca Mull. So we look forward to the redefinition of our HR department. And these are the things that we have to do to make ECISD great. The final point I'll mention in terms of equipping our world-class staff, again, I want to appreciate the Board of Trustees who approved the $1.2 million to provide for a consistent campus technology profile. Our technology guys are hard at work right now, not only making this broadcast work, to which I'm very appreciative, but also in lining out where those smart boards need to go, where those LCD projectors need to be mounted, and where the document cameras need to be situated. We're not going to turn it over to the campus principal and say, eke it out of your budget. We're going to buy it, we're going to set it up, and we're going to make it happen for you. Our job is to remove barriers, not to put up barriers. Another component is the laptop initiative. We have well over 1,300 teachers who have gone through the training and now have a laptop. And it is through their love of technology that our students will see their love of technology for social media purposes translate into a love of technology for academic purposes. That'll translate to the next level of innovation in the workplace. Let's not be defined by technology and what it says it can do for us, but rather let's define technology and what we will do with it to define the workplace of the future. That's very well within our reach. And when you have well over 1,200 to 1,300 ECISD teachers with laptops, that's the beginning of a very good thing. In establishing and sustaining an interdependent partnership with parents and community, the first thing I'm going to say is we have 3,400 ECISD team members. So I hope that each of you will, I'm going to get the lingo right, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. I think right now we're somewhere around 200 people following us on Twitter. Let's see if we can, after this broadcast, get everybody who's logged into the broadcast on Twitter. I think the standard was set yesterday. I think the Odessa American has 400 people on Twitter, so we want to exceed that. What we're making a commitment to doing now is to put more information on Facebook and to get more information out via Twitter. If you want to know what's going on in ECISD, you can go through those 2 sources, but you can also opt in for our e-newsletters. And I'm committed to continuing my Monday memorandum, so continue to ask questions so I have things to write about. And also, I'll continue my Friday video messages. However, after this one, I think this is going to serve as a Friday video message, so it'll be next week. If you think about all of the things that we've done, and this is the short list because I said this would only go from 4:30 to 5:15, if you are not impressed by the work you have done, if you are not impressed by what's been accomplished for our kids and our community, be impressed. You have a right to. With all due dignity, celebrate being an ECISD team member. Celebrate it, share it, and let people know that it's a great time to be in ECISD. That we will be the leader in education, that we will redefine excellence. And when people hear world class, they'll know exactly which district is being referenced. Let me talk about going forward. With the leaders represented across Odessa, the work that we did yesterday was to resharpen the blade that helped us cut through over 30 years of random implementation cycles and very predictable abandonment cycles when it came to teaching and learning. We would put something in and it'd get hard and we'd stop. And our kids have paid the price for that. Our community's paid the price for that. And now is not the time when the star is upon us and we're taking a look at the rigor of that assessment to say it's time to find a new imperfect curriculum and pretend that it's better than what we have, which is we have each other and our own resources to take what we have, which is a solid foundation point, and move forward and build something great. I will have to say, as ideas and words relative to each strategic priority went across the room yesterday and across those tables, those words served as the whetstone on which the blade of our existing strategic plan was resharpened, and the chips faded away, the dull spots faded away. That blade is sharpened again so that ECISD can rightfully assume its place as a cutting-edge district. In moving forward, ensuring learning experiences that are engaging and challenging. Are we about to abandon our work towards quality foundational curriculum? No, we're not. Despite recent moves at the state level relative to C-Scope, we are positioned well, and we've been planning since the end of 2011 and 12 to provide something better than C-Scope, our own ECISD curriculum. Do we allow ourselves to be paralyzed by STAR, EOC testing results? No, we don't. What we do is we say, this is where we are today. We've implemented a new curriculum for the first year on many campuses. What we do is we say, let's learn from this year. It's not time to change people out. It's time for us to change our mindset on how we approach these issues. We are the best people for the job. We have to believe that. I believe that. We are the best people for the job. We take what we have now, and through these next few weeks and into the summer and into next year, we realign our year at a glance, our scope and sequence, to fit the areas that we showed strength and to address the areas where we had weakness. And we should then be so bold as to turn it over to the campuses and say, within this 6 weeks, this is what's to be taught. Now you adjust it the way you feel you need it adjusted. You have that right, you have that freedom, and you have our support in doing that. There will be no mandate to hold to a one day you say this, and the next day you say this, and the next day you say this. That's not the point. That's not the focus, and that won't be what we do moving forward. As we renew curriculum, it's going to be a tool for us. It'll be the hammer that drives the nail in our hand, as opposed to a tool that's using us to drive the nail. That's not the purpose. So as we enter into this work, I reiterate, we will take our scope and sequence that was given to us by C-Scope. We will take that and make it our scope and sequence and adjust it based on district-wide trends. What did we do well? Let's keep doing that. How much time do we need for that? Maybe it's less. What did we not do well? Maybe we need more time for that. What resources did we or did we not have? If we're missing resources, now will be the time to begin aggregating those resources. Now will be the time to put it on the table and say, you want to know why my scores were better than the district's average? This is what we did. And I want to share it with everybody in ECISD, because today these kids are mine, tomorrow they may be yours, and by the end of the year they may be mine again. We know we have a tremendous amount of mobility, and all our kids across the district deserve a quality education. So what I'm saying is, I know that the resources are out there. Let's bring them to the table and not be shy about it. Principals, I'm speaking directly to you. Next year, I will empower you. You will have the ability to take your budget and buy those things for your teachers that you need. In return, what I'll request will be that when we issue our benchmarks, we look at the data and we say, those things that we put in at Nimitz, at Crockett, at Permian, at OHS, at NTO, at Cavazos, at Fly, they worked or they did it. Because what I'm very willing to do and what I'm issuing today is a request for us to be honest with each other and to stop hiding the things that we feel really work. Let's get those out on the table. And let's discuss them fully and let's celebrate them. Our students deserve that. I also say that it's a matter of What's the best idea? Let's bring that to the table. I want everybody in ECISD to know it's not about my title, your title. It's not about I'm just a teacher, I'm just a principal, I'm just an assistant principal, I'm just a custodian. You know, somebody once told me nobody grows up saying, I want to be an employee when I grow up. Most people want to be a superhero. Some people want to be a fireman. Some people want to be a doctor or a lawyer. Everybody has their aspirations. But nobody grows up saying, I want to be an employee. Someday let me be faculty. People say, I want to be a part of a team. I want to be something bigger and better. I don't refer to people in the sense of you're a custodian or you're in our food service department. We're all ECISD team members. From the bus drivers that wake up early and get our kids to school, to our food service who take care of them during the lunch hour and breakfast hour, also into the summer through our summer feeding program, to our custodians that make our buildings look good, and our maintenance workers that make sure that we're taken care of and that we have a safe situation in the sense of our police force. Everybody in ECISD is on the same team, and if one part of the team stops doing its work, then we don't move forward. So yes, I'm speaking about experiences that are engaging, challenging, and meaningful. Every one of us out here is an advocate not just for each other, but an advocate for our students. My final point as we move forward will be empowerment, empowerment, and empowerment. In terms of taking a look at our infrastructure, we should never stop looking to the future. To prevent this, what we need to begin assessing now is what do we want in terms of the graduate of ECISD's profile? What should they be able to do? What should they be able to provide? What should they be able to contribute at the university level, in our community, at the workplace, through the armed services? What should the profile of an ECISD graduate be? As we define that, then what we can do is take the building out of the way in the sense of it being an obstacle to teaching and learning, and leverage the building as a tool in teaching and learning. So what are the things that we need to do with our old, outdated buildings? A lot of that will be driven by our conversation and curriculum, our conversation with each other, and our desire to see ECISD transform from a district that's providing education for students in the classical sense to redefining education for what will be the future. And taking a look at our third strategic priority, we will identify, engage, and equip our world-class team to accomplish our mission. We have to make those bold steps to begin attracting world-class teachers. I know that housing is an issue in Ector County. We're in conversation now. I'm personally visiting with each of our Board of Trustees about options for either buying or building apartment complexes for ECISD team members. And it's a very exciting time. We want to be able to provide our team members a great place to work, a great salary, and then a great place to go home to. So I never dreamed that I would be in the real estate or land development business, but in this job, sometimes there are things that have to be done to take care of our team members. Another point I'd like to mention is we are opening a child care center for 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds for ECISD team members at Hayes next year. I don't know why we've never done it in the past. It just makes sense. If our team members dedicate their time to come early and stay late, we should take care of our team members' kids because they take care of everybody else's. So as we've opened up the Zavala Child Development Center for 0 through 4-year-olds, we're also opening up Hayes Academic Magnet for 3 and 4-year-olds for our ECISD team members. Those are the things that we have to do, because you can't just say you want to be world class but not treat people as if they're in a world class organization. On our fourth strategic priority, we will establish and sustain an interdependent partnership with parents. Again, I reiterate, let's get out the word about what we do. Let's share with people all the exciting things going on day in and day out, to the point that they want to break down our doors and see what we're doing and be a part of it. It begins with us, and I can't say that enough. We are our best advocate, or we are our worst advocate. And I am here today advocating for all ECISD team members because I believe adamantly in this community. It was where I began my time as an educator, and I was so happy that I was welcomed back in to continue. This is home to me. My children go to school here. My brother's children go to school here. I have family members whose children go to school here. All my friends in ECISD, all of you, your children go to school here. And the things that we need to do to celebrate that, it begins with us. It truly begins with us. Who can deny the outstanding things that go on at Mila Magnet, at Blackshear Magnet, at Zavala Magnet? Who can deny the outstanding work that goes on at Reagan? Who can deny the work that goes on day in and day out in preparing kids for high school at Nimitz, at Bonham, and Hector, at Hood, at Crockett, at Bowie? Who can deny when you take a look at our top 10 and compare them to anybody's top 10 at OHS and PHS in a year at New Tech, that we don't do outstanding work with kids? We do, and we should celebrate that. Next year, I look forward to people out of my office directly working with me to begin going out to the churches and the community centers in the neighborhoods and to meet people where they are and to stop expecting for them to meet us where we are. I also ask across the district that our campuses consider some of those opportunities and looking for those apartment complexes, those modular home developments, those new home developments. I was driving out to Cavazos and Fly, and there are new homes going up left and right, as well as around Jordan and LBJ. We should get out into those areas and hand our literature out and say, hey, parents, if you buy a home here, come and see us too, and let us tell you, if you want to be part of our community of Odessa, how you can be part of our community at our schools. My final point is, educators, I need your assistance. As a team, we must go out and educate our community and let them know that education in Odessa must be the priority. That this community, if it wants to grow up to be something spectacular, it begins and ends with education, and everything in the middle is education. It's our job to go out and be education's advocate and education's champion. I understand that not every student wants a 4-year college education, but every student needs a high school education so that if they decide to pursue a 4-year education, they can. If they decide to pursue a career in technology education, they can. They're prepared. You need math to do auto body, HVAC, welding, nursing. You need math for those areas. You need language arts. You need social studies. You need the fine arts. You need science. It's our opportunity to begin championing education in Odessa. So what are the next steps in our planning process? I've laid out what's been done to this point. I've laid out a bit of a vision of where we have to go. Those 100 community members that got together yesterday are going to break up into 4 subcommittees over curriculum, facilities, attracting and retaining folks, and communication. They're going to begin working through the particulars of work to be done, timelines, benchmarks, and means for evaluating success, and making adjustments as needed. This plan will be presented to the Board of Trustees sometime around December or January for approval, and that will be our direction moving forward. And when people ask what's going on in ECISD, we should be able to hand them a very good document and say, here's what's going on. I need your help. I need you to be a partner in this. In closing, world class becomes a reality when we open up, when we share our successes and acknowledge our weaknesses and determine to address them and do so together. It's time to renew our commitment to each other, our students, our community, and to the excellence that we will redefine for this community, this state, this nation, and beyond. We will define world-class status in all its meanings. Thank you.